Welcome to Racial Scale Modelling. This is part 7 of Italeri Operation Silver Bayonet, scale 172. So, if you've been following this build, you'll know that this is a diorama build log. I'm on part 7 now, as I said, and parts 1 through 6, I've already built the Huey, the helicopter, and the M-113 main battle tank. For this part, I'm going to be going on to the M-113A, which is a small personnel vehicle or carrier. So let's jump into this and see how well I get on. So I'm starting off as I did with the tank. I'm painting the trucks with the Revel colour 83 dross before going on to the main part of the hull, well, the underside of the hull. Now I'm going to have this opened, so there is slight differences to the build. So I'm painting the interior with Tamiya's XF71 cockpit green. Now the instructions is calling for white on this, but after looking at many photographs, and I spoke to my big brother who is a tank driver, and he's been in these vehicles as well, and he said the green's probably the best way to go. So that's how I'm going to paint it. In fact, on a side note, when I started the build, I phoned up my brother to ask, and he was actually down in Bovington with the Challenger 2 doing something there through work. Don't know what he was doing. He's still in the army. Anyway, back to the build. So as you can see, carrying on with the interior and the floor, I'm using Revel colour 91 steel for this. Again, not necessarily maybe the right colour, but it's a nice contrast to the light green. And the interior is Revel colour 46 NATO olive, so it's the same colour as the tank. And the same process with the wheels, so it's the Revel 08 matte black. So the wheels and track are basically painted and built the same way as the main battle tank. So I won't go into too much detail on this particular part of the build. The only real main difference is on the track, the tread is a different shape to what's on the tank. The tread here is just one little block, and the tank is like a little chevron. So it's time to fit the wheels. These just push on. There is no suspension rods to be fitted into this. It's all molded onto the plastic. And the only wheels to be made up are the drivetrain wheels, and they're just two components on this one, not three like on the main battle tank. So just two halves together. There is a little guide for these to go together, but they're a bit tricky to line up, so you could just nip it off and line it up by eye. That would probably be easier. The track is placed on pretty much the same way as the tank. Also, the single links wrap around the drive wheels, and then you have a couple of longer sections to place on. Now, I did have the same amount of trouble with this track as I did with the tank as well. I'm not sure whether it was me or it was the actual track. Either way, I did have difficulty fitting this. So it's onto the interior, and I'm painting in the block colour. So this is Revel colour 46 native olive, so the same colour as the outer part, and this is the bench that sits inside the back of the carrier. Here I'm building a little bit ahead than I need to. I'm just making up the gun and magazine, so I'm just putting that together now so that it's all ready to paint. So the magazine bolt just goes into the side of the weapon. Then I'm moving on to the rear hatch area. Now this is not the hatch itself, this is just the bulkhead for the hatch. It does have a couple of fuel canisters on the sides that you can see. I'm going to have this open, as I said, but I thought it was better to get these fitted now before I place them on to the main build. There's a little toe coupler that goes on. You won't actually see this on my build, but I thought it was best to put it on because it may affect the drop down position of the door. So it's back to the gun, and I'm using Mr. Hobby's H38 steel red metallic for the metallic gun colour. Next I'm going on to the gunner seat. This is a simple construction. The seat itself goes on this long column. There's a base plate underneath the seat, but it doesn't actually rest on that. There's a slight gap between the two. And that base colour is painted in Revit Colour 05 white. Why that's white, I'm not sure. But it will give it a nice contrast once it's in position. A little backrest above the seat, and that's painted in Revit Colour 08 matte black. While the main column is painted in Tamiya's XF71 cockpit green. And lastly, the actual seat itself is Revit Colour 46 NATO olive. Now there's a wide range of colours on this. Again, I'm not sure why, but when it goes in, it will stand out, so maybe that's why. It's time for construction of the inner part. So first of all, the two benches go in. Now they go hard against the sidewall. There's no location points as such for this, but there's enough to grip on the sidewall for them to go in. So once those two were in, next was the bulkhead partition. There's two of these to create a compartment. I would imagine it's for the driver, but there's no detail in that position whatsoever. It's left blank. There's no mold casting on the parts, or indeed any parts added to it. So I would assume the kit expects you to close this part off. There is some very nice location lines here to line these up, so there's no drama actually placing them in. It's just a shame there's no good detail in that compartment there. And then I can fit the gunner seat. There's a nice deep recess location point for us to fit in. It can be a little bit tight, hence why it just popped out. But if you hold it for a few seconds, then it should be fine. I mean, there's not much to see in it, but there is a little bit of detail, and it's quite nice to have to make up the gunner's seat in this. Once the drive was able to push on the main hull, and it fitted really well. I didn't need any clamps to hold it down. I just held it for a minute, I think it was, until I was happy with the fit. And it was then time to fit the various components on top. These are very small components. So you have a set of lights, a little viewfinder thing, and that. But I mean, there's about 4 or 5 different things. Now, interestingly, even I should say, there's on the instructions there's an option to put the spare track on just where I'm putting the hinged door here, but there's no spare track on the sprue. So I don't know whether that was a mistake in the instructions or whether I lost something. I don't think I did. So the instructions say 2 lengths of spare track, but I don't have any. So here I'm just fitting the lights. They just go on top of the hinge door. The recess point is quite deep, you can see it there. And these go in at an angle, obviously, so it points straight ahead. Next is the top hatch, but I would actually recommend not putting this on until near the end of the build. I actually took mine off because I wasn't happy with the position. I had it upright initially, but eventually I put it laying flat down. So don't do it this way. Leave it off until near the end. And the last thing I do for part 7 is to put the rear components in the bulkhead and the door. There was no issues with this. It just fitted superbly, really. So while I'm doing this, why don't you go and check the channel and see if there's something there that you're interested in. If you subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit the notification bell. That way you'll be kept up to date, not only with this build, but all my future builds as well, of course. Hit the like button. Don't be afraid to leave a comment, and of course you can share the video. As I'm putting the door on the downward position, I'd like to thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in part 8. Bye for now.